Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the UHS Valkyrie, looking out at the stars through the large windows. The ship was huge, bigger than 3 city blocks put together. It was the most powerful warship in the human fleet, and Lisa was proud to command it. The Third Fleet had been patrolling the outer edge of human space for 2 months now. It was quiet work, mostly checking on trade routes and making sure pirates stayed away. Lisa's crew of 15,000 people was getting restless. They wanted action, something to break the boring routine of patrol duty. Captain Jake Morrison walked onto the bridge. He commanded the destroyer UHS Phoenix, one of the fastest ships in the fleet. Jake was young for a captain, only 35 years old, but he was smart and brave. Lisa trusted him completely. "Admiral, we're picking up something strange," Jake said. His face looked worried. "Amy Rodriguez in communications thinks it might be a distress signal." Lisa turned away from the windows. Amy Rodriguez was the best communications officer in the fleet. If she thought something was important, it usually was. "Show me," Lisa said. They walked to the communications station where Amy was working. She had headphones on and was typing quickly on her computer. Amy looked up when she saw the Admiral. "Coming, ma'am. We're getting a signal from deep space," Amy said. "It's not human, but the translation software is working on it. The signal is very weak, like it's coming from far away." Lisa nodded. "How far?" "At least 50 light years, maybe more," Amy replied. "That's why it's so weak. But whoever sent it is using a lot of power. They really want someone to hear this message." Jake leaned over Amy's shoulder to look at her screen. "Any idea who sent it?" Amy's fingers flew over the keyboard. "The signal pattern looks familiar, I think. ... Yes, it's Zilani." Lisa felt her heart beat faster. The Zilani were good friends of humanity. They looked like tall people, made of living crystal, and they were completely peaceful. The Zilani had helped humans learn about space travel 20 years ago. They had never asked for anything in return, except friendship. "Put it on the main screen when you have it translated," Lisa ordered. Amy worked for 10 more minutes. Other crew members gathered around to watch. Everyone knew the Zilani were special allies. Finally, Amy looked up with a pale face. "I have it, Admiral, but you're not going to like what it says." The main screen came to life. The image was fuzzy and kept breaking up, but they could see a Zilani figure. It was Christach Thamnara, the leader of the Zilani people. Lisa had met him once at a peace conference. He was usually calm and wise, but now he looked terrified. "This is Christach Thamnara of Kristara, to any human ships that can hear this message." The alien's voice said through the speakers, "We are under attack. Our world is being destroyed. We need help immediately." The image flickered and almost disappeared. When it came back, Thamnara was looking over his shoulder as if something was chasing him. "The attackers call themselves the Vorthok. They came from deep space 3 days ago with hundreds of ships. They are not trying to conquer us. They are trying to kill every living thing on our planet. Our cities are burning. Millions of my people are already dead." Lisa felt anger building in her chest. The Zilani had no weapons, no army, no way to fight back. They believed that violence was wrong and had never hurt anyone. Commander Ben Walsh, Lisa's tactical officer, was studying his computer screen. "Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy readings from the Kristara system. Someone is using planet-killer weapons down there." On the screen, Thamnara continued his desperate message. "The Vorthok do not want to talk. They do not want prisoners. They only want death. Please, if any humans can hear this, we need your help. We have been friends for 20 years. We are begging you to save us." The signal cut out completely. The bridge became very quiet. Jake broke the silence first. "How long would it take us to get there?" Ben checked his navigation computer. 3 days at maximum jump speed, sir. "They might all be dead by then," Amy said quietly. Lisa walked back to the windows and looked out at the stars again. She thought about Thamnara and his people. She remembered visiting their crystal cities that sparkled like jewels in the sunlight. She thought about Zilani children who had never seen war or violence. Lieutenant Colonel Kate Hughes entered the bridge. She was in charge of the fleet's marines, the soldiers who fought on planets and inside enemy ships. Kate was tough and never backed down from a fight. "Admiral, I heard the message," Kate said. "My marines are ready to deploy immediately." Lisa turned to face her senior officers. The bridge crew was watching her, waiting for orders. She knew what she had to do, even though it was dangerous. "The Zilani are our friends," Lisa said in a loud, clear voice. 20 years ago, they helped us reach the stars. They never asked us to fight their battles, but they always offered us their knowledge and friendship." She paused and looked at each of her officers. "Now they need us. I don't care if we're outnumbered. I don't care if we're far from home. We're going to Kristera, and we're going to save every Zilani we can." Jake smiled. "Orders, Admiral." "Signal. All ships in the fleet. We jump to Kristera in 1 hour. Maximum speed. Full combat readiness," Lisa commanded, "and send a message back to Earth. Tell them we're responding to a Zilani distress call." Ben looked worried. "Admiral, we only have 47 ships. If the Vorthok have hundreds of vessels, then we'll just have to be smarter than they are," Lisa said firmly. "Humans don't abandon their friends, ever." Amy started typing new commands into her console. "I'm sending recall signals to all patrol ships. They'll meet us at the jump point." Kate headed for the door. "I'll get my Marines ready for combat deployment." As her officers rushed to carry out her orders, Lisa remained at the windows. In 3 days, they would either save the Zilani or die trying. She thought about the families back on Earth who would never see their loved ones again if this mission failed. But she also thought about Thamnara and his people, who had shown humans nothing but kindness for 20 years. The Zilani had never asked humans to be their protectors, but sometimes being a friend meant fighting for those who couldn't fight for themselves. The stars looked different now. They no longer seemed peaceful and quiet. Somewhere out there, innocent people were dying, and only humanity could save them. Lisa Carter had made her choice. The human fleet was going to war. The human fleet jumped through space faster than light, racing toward the Zilani homeworld. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in her ready room, studying star charts on her computer screen. 3 days felt like forever when people were dying. Captain Jake Morrison entered without knocking. His face was serious, and he carried a datapad full of information. "Admiral, we've got problems," Jake said, sitting down across from Lisa's desk. "Chief Engineer Ryan Torres has been working on our weapon systems. The good news is, our guns are running at full power. The bad news is, we're going to run out of ammunition fast if this turns into a long fight." Lisa nodded. She had expected this problem. Human fleets were designed for quick battles near human space, not long campaigns far from supply lines. "What about the Phoenix?" she asked. "Torres upgraded our plasma cannons yesterday. They're hitting 40% harder than before, but they use more power," Jake replied. "We might get 6 hours of heavy fighting before we need to recharge our batteries." Down in the engineering section of the Valkyrie, Ryan Torres was covered in grease and sweat. He had been working for 36 hours straight, making sure every weapon system was perfect. Ryan was the best engineer in the fleet, and he knew that small improvements could mean the difference between winning and losing. "Hand me that power coupling," Ryan called to his assistant. "If we can reroute energy from the life support backup systems, we can boost firepower by another 10%. "Sir, what if life support fails during battle?" the young engineer asked. Ryan wiped sweat from his forehead. "Then we better win fast." On the medical deck, Dr. Susan Blake was preparing for the worst. She was a xenobiologist, which meant she studied alien life forms. Susan had worked with Solani before, and knew their crystal-like bodies were very different from humans. Their blood is more like liquid light than real blood, Susan explained to her medical team. If we find wounded Solani, we'll need to use energy treatments, not traditional medicine. Dr. Nicole Parker, the fleet's chief medical officer, was setting up emergency surgery rooms. She had ordered every ship in the fleet to prepare for massive casualties. We're going into battle against an unknown enemy, Nicole told her nurses. We don't know what their weapons do to human bodies. Have everything ready for burns, radiation poisoning, and blast injuries. In the Marine barracks, Lieutenant Colonel Kate Hughes was training her soldiers for close combat. The Marines were practicing fighting in tight ship corridors and alien environments. Major Alex Stone led a group of Marines through combat drills. Alex was Kate's best squad leader, tough and smart in equal measure. Remember, we don't know what these Vorthok look like, or how they fight, Alex shouted to his troops. Stay flexible, watch each other's backs, and shoot anything that isn't human or Zolani. The Marines carried new weapons that Ryan Torres had modified. Their rifles now shot explosive rounds that could punch through thick armor. Their combat suits had extra power cells for longer battles. On the bridge of the Phoenix, Lieutenant Commander Paul Davis was studying weapon targeting systems. Paul was Jake's weapons officer and one of the best marksmen in the fleet. Captain, I've been thinking about our battle strategy, Paul said. We're going to be outnumbered badly. We need to hit them hard and fast before they can organize. Jake was looking at tactical displays showing their fleet formation. What do you suggest? Split attack patterns. Instead of fighting in one big group, we break into smaller squadrons. We hit different parts of their fleet at the same time, Paul explained. They won't be able to concentrate their fire on us. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Commander Greg Foster was trying to learn everything possible about the Vorthok. Greg's job was to understand enemy tactics and technology before the battle started. I've been analyzing the energy signatures from Kristara, Greg reported to Admiral Carter. The Vorthok are using plasma weapons, similar to ours, but more primitive. Their ships seem to rely on heavy armor instead of energy shields. That's good news, Lisa replied. Our weapons should be able to penetrate their defenses. There's more, Admiral. The attack patterns suggest they're not very smart tactically. They're using brute force instead of strategy, Greg continued. They've never fought an enemy that could fight back effectively. As the fleet traveled through space, more messages arrived from Krist. Each one was worse than the last. Amy Rodriguez translated them with tears in her eyes. Admiral, this is the latest message from Kristarch, Amy said, her voice shaking. Half of their major cities are gone. The Vorthok are hunting down survivors and killing them one by one. Lisa felt her anger growing stronger. The Vorthok weren't just conquerors. They were monsters who enjoyed causing suffering. Captain Lisa North commanded the heavy cruiser UHS Retribution, the most powerful warship in the fleet after the Valkyrie. She was reviewing the new experimental weapons her ship carried. The Nova torpedo is untested in real combat, her weapons officer warned. We don't know if it will work against enemy ships. Then we'll find out together, Lisa North replied. If this weapon can save Zolani lives, we're going to use it. On the carrier, Thunderbolt, fighter pilots were practicing attack runs. Commander Walsh was coordinating their training from the Valkyrie's bridge. Our fighters are faster than anything the Vorthok have, Ben reported to Admiral Carter. We can use hit-and-run tactics to confuse them while our big ships move into position. Dr. Blake made an important discovery while studying old Zolani medical records. She called Admiral Carter immediately. Lisa, I found something crucial, Susan said. The Zolani have natural energy fields around their bodies. If we can boost those fields with our ship's power systems, we might be able to protect Zolani survivors during the battle. Explain that to Chief Torres. Maybe he can modify our transporters, Lisa ordered, as they got closer to Kristara. The fleet received one final message. This time it wasn't from the Mnara, it was from his daughter, Lumina, who was hiding in underground caves with other survivors. "Human friends, my father is dead," Lumina's voice said through the speakers. "The Vorthok killed him when he refused to surrender our people to them, but we are still fighting. We are sending you information about their ground bases and ship positions." The data that came with Lumina's message was exactly what Commander Foster needed. It showed where the Vorthok ships were positioned around Kristara, and which ones were the most important. "Admiral, this changes everything," Greg said excitedly. "The Zalani have identified the Vorthok command ship. If we can destroy it, we might be able to break their entire formation." Lisa studied the tactical display. The Vorthok had over 200 ships surrounding Kristara in a perfect sphere. It looked impossible to break through, but humans had faced impossible odds before, and won. "Signal all ship captains," Lisa ordered. "Full fleet meeting in 1 hour. We're going to plan how 47 human ships are going to destroy 200 alien ones." Jake smiled grimly. "Any special orders for the Phoenix, Admiral?" "Get ready to show these Vorthok what happens when they threaten our friends," Lisa replied. As the human fleet prepared for battle, each crew member knew they might not survive the next day, but they also knew they were fighting for something important. The Zalani had been humanity's first alien friends, and humans never abandoned their friends. The stars ahead grew brighter as they approached Kristara. Soon, the battle would begin. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kristara system. What they saw made everyone's blood run cold. Admiral Lisa Carter stared at the main screen in horror. The beautiful blue and green planet that had once been the Zalani homeworld was now covered in dark smoke and orange fires. Huge sections of the continents were nothing but black scars, where cities used to shine like jewels. "My God," Captain Jake Morrison whispered. "We're too late." But Commander Ben Walsh was studying his sensor readings. "Admiral, I'm detecting life signs on the planet. Weak signals, but they're there. Some Zalani are still alive." Surrounding the dying planet was the largest enemy fleet any human had ever seen. More than 200 Vorthok ships filled the space around Kristara, like angry hornets around their nest. The Vorthok ships were ugly things, dark and twisted like metal insects. They were bigger than human ships, but looked clumsy and slow. Black energy beams shot down from them toward the planet's surface, burning everything they touched. "Admiral, we're being scanned," Amy Rodriguez called from her communications station. "The enemy knows we're here." Lisa straightened her uniform and walked to the center of the bridge. "Open a channel to the Vorthok fleet. Let's introduce ourselves." The main screen changed to show the inside of an alien ship. The creature looking back at them was terrifying. It looked like a giant insect with black armor covering its body. Its eyes were red and filled with hate. "I am Hive Prime Zethkar of the Vorthok Empire," the alien said in a voice like grinding metal. "You are humans. We have heard of your species. You are weak and pathetic, just like these crystal creatures we are destroying." Lisa stepped forward, her face hard as stone. "I am Admiral Lisa Carter of the human fleet. You will stop your attack on Kristara immediately and withdraw from this system." Zethkar made a sound that might have been laughter. "You have 47 small ships. We have 212 vessels of war. Your demands are amusing, but meaningless. Turn around and flee, humans, or we will add your bones to the collection we are making here." "The Zalani are under human protection," Lisa said firmly. "This is your only warning. Leave now, or we will make you leave." The alien's red eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Then you will die with them. Attack Formation 7. Destroy the human ships." The screen went black. The battle was about to begin. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter," Lisa spoke into the fleet communications system. "The enemy has chosen death over surrender. Show them what happens when they threaten our friends. All ships, attack." Captain Morrison's destroyer, The Phoenix led the first wave of human ships toward the Vorthok fleet. Jake stood on his bridge, watching the enemy ships move to intercept them. Paul, target their lead cruiser, Jake ordered his weapons officer. Let's see how tough their armor really is. Lieutenant Commander Paul Davis locked his plasma cannons onto the largest Vorthok ship coming toward them. Firing now, Captain. The Phoenix's upgraded weapons lit up space with brilliant energy beams. The plasma bolts hit the alien cruiser's armor and punched right through it like it was made of paper. The Vorthok ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. Direct hit, Paul shouted. Their armor is weaker than we thought. But more Vorthok ships were coming. Much more. Commander Walsh launched fighter squadrons from the carrier Thunderbolt. The small, fast human fighters darted between the large alien ships like birds, attacking elephants. Fighter Squadron Alpha, target their weapon systems, Ben radioed to the pilots. Squadron Beta, protect our big ships from their fighters. The Vorthok had fighters too, but they were slow and clumsy compared to human craft. Human pilots had been training for this kind of battle their whole careers. The alien pilots had only fought defenseless enemies before. Major Alex Stone prepared his Marines for boarding actions. If they could capture enemy ships, they might learn valuable information about Vorthok technology and tactics. Remember your training, Alex told his troops as they climbed into assault shuttles. These aliens have never fought humans before. We're going to show them why that was a mistake. The first assault shuttle launched from the Phoenix, heading for a damaged Vorthok destroyer. The alien ship was leaking atmosphere and couldn't move properly after taking hits from human plasma cannons inside the Vorthok ship. The aliens were panicking. They had never seen weapons that could cut through their armor, their own energy beams were hitting human ships. But the humans had energy shields that absorbed most of the damage. Captain Lisa North commanded the heavy cruiser Retribution from the center of the battle formation. Her ship carried the Nova torpedo that had never been tested in real combat. Target the enemy battle group approaching from Sector 7. Lisa North ordered her weapons officer. Prepare the Nova torpedo for firing. Ma'am, are you sure? We don't know what will happen, the young officer replied nervously. We're about to find out, Lisa North said grimly. Fire. The Nova torpedo launched from the Retribution like a small star. It flew through space toward a group of 15 Vorthok ships that were trying to surround a human squadron. When the torpedo reached the center of the enemy formation, it exploded. But this wasn't a normal explosion. The torpedo created a miniature sun that burned brighter than anything in the solar system. The 15 Vorthok ships simply disappeared, turned into gas and energy in less than a second. The explosion was so bright that both human and Vorthok ships had to turn away to protect their crew's eyes. When the light faded, there was nothing left where 15 enemy ships had been, except empty space. Holy ... Jake Morrison started to say, then caught himself. Admiral, did you see that? I saw it, Lisa Carter replied. And so did every in their fleet. I think we just got their attention. The alien fleet was indeed paying attention now. Hive Prime Zethkar was screaming orders at his ship commanders, demanding to know how humans had destroyed 15 ships at once. But the humans weren't finished. Admiral Carter had split her fleet into multiple attack groups, just like Paul Davis had suggested. Instead of fighting one big battle, they were fighting 6 smaller ones, all around the Vorthok formation. The aliens couldn't concentrate their firepower, because human ships kept appearing and disappearing in different locations. Every time the Vorthok moved to attack one human group, another group would hit them from behind. Chief Engineer Ryan Torres had been right about the human weapons. The upgraded plasma cannons were cutting through Vorthok armor like hot knives through butter. Enemy ships that had taken centuries to build were being destroyed in minutes. But the humans were taking damage too. Dr. Nicole Parker's medical teams were working frantically to treat wounded crew members. The Vorthok energy weapons caused terrible burns when they hit human ships. On the planet's surface, Lumina and the surviving Zelani watched the battle from their hiding places. They had never seen such violence before, but they understood that humans were dying to save them. The humans are so few, but they fight like warriors from legend, Lumina whispered to her people. They are destroying ships 10 times their size. Major. Stone's Marines had successfully boarded 3 Vorthok ships. What they found inside surprised them. The alien warriors were strong and fierce, but they had no experience fighting in narrow corridors and tight spaces. Humans had been fighting ship-to-ship battles for hundreds of years. They knew how to use cover, how to work as teams, and how to turn an enemy's size against them. The massive Vorthok warriors kept getting stuck in doorways while human Marines shot them down. These aliens are used to fighting in open space, Alex reported to Admiral Carter. In close combat, they're almost helpless. The tide of battle was turning. The Vorthok had started the fight with overwhelming numbers, but human tactics and superior weapons were evening the odds. Enemy ships were exploding faster than they could be replaced. Hive Prime Zethkar realized his empire had made a terrible mistake. These humans weren't weak and pathetic. They were the most dangerous enemy the Vorthok had ever faced, but it was too late to retreat now. The battle was going to continue until one side was completely destroyed. Admiral Carter stood on her bridge, watching her ships dance through the enemy formation like deadly angels. Her people were fighting magnificently, but she knew the hardest part was still coming. The real battle was just beginning. The space battle raged for 3 hours. Human ships darted between massive Vorthok vessels like wolves hunting elephants. Admiral Lisa Carter watched her tactical display as red dots representing enemy ships slowly disappeared one by one, but the humans were paying a price too. 7 ships had been destroyed, and many others were badly damaged. Dr. Nicole Parker's medical teams worked without rest, treating burns and blast injuries. Admiral, we've lost the destroyer, Falcon, Commander, Ben Walsh reported grimly. All hands. Lisa felt each loss like a knife in her heart, but she couldn't show weakness now. Her people needed to see their commander stay strong. Lieutenant Colonel Kate Hughes had a different plan brewing. While the space battle continued overhead, she wanted to attack the Vorthok from inside their own command ship. I'm taking a strike team directly to their mothership, Kate told Admiral Carter over the communications system. If we can capture or kill their leader, it might break their whole fleet. That's suicide, Kate, Lisa replied. That ship is 20 times bigger than the Valkyrie. Ma'am, my Marines are trained for impossible missions, Kate said firmly. And these aliens have never fought humans in close combat. They don't know what we're capable of. Lisa thought for a moment. Kate was right about Vorthok weaknesses. Major Alex Stone's boarding parties had already captured 5 enemy ships with minimal casualties. Do it, Lisa decided. Take 2 assault shuttles and your best Marines. But if things go bad, you retreat immediately. Kate smiled grimly. Understood, Admiral. We'll be back before dinner. The Vorthok mothership was a massive thing, over 10 kilometers long and bristling with weapons. It looked like a metal city floating in space, dark and threatening. But Kate had noticed something important from the tactical reports. The ship's defenses were all designed to fight other spaceships, not small assault shuttles. The aliens had never considered that someone might try to board their command vessel. During battle, Kate's 2 shuttles launched from the Valkyrie while Captain Morrison's destroyers created a distraction nearby. The Phoenix and 2 other ships attacked a group of Vorthok cruisers, drawing attention away from the mothership. Approaching the target, Kate radioed to her pilot. Take us in through those docking bays on the lower section. The assault shuttles slipped through the mothership's defenses like arrows through armor. The alien ship was so huge that nobody noticed 2 small craft landing in the cargo bay area. Kate's Marines stormed out of their shuttles wearing full combat armor and carrying modified weapons. The Vorthok workers in the docking bay were completely surprised. They had never seen humans before and didn't know what to do. "Secure the area," Kate ordered. "Set up defensive positions. We're going hunting." Meanwhile, back in the main battle, Dr. Susan Blake made a crucial discovery about Vorthok biology. She had been studying dead aliens from the captured ships, trying to understand how they worked. "Admiral, I found something important," Susan called from the medical lab. "These Vorthok aren't really individuals. They're connected by some kind of mental link, like a hive mind." "What does that mean for us?" Lisa asked. "If we can disrupt their mental connection, it might cause chaos in their ranks," Susan explained. "I think they use chemical signals, like smell, to stay connected to each other." Chief Engineer Ryan Torres was listening to the conversation. "Doc, if you can tell me what frequency disrupts their signals, I can modify our communications arrays to broadcast it." Susan worked frantically with her computers, analyzing alien brain chemistry. "Try a sonic frequency of 1847 Hz. That should interfere with their pheromone reception." Ryan's fingers flew over his control panels. Within minutes, every human ship in the fleet was broadcasting the disruption signal. The effect on the Vorthok was immediate and dramatic. Enemy ships that had been moving in perfect formation suddenly started wandering in different directions. Some Vorthok vessels began firing on their own allies by mistake. The aliens' careful battle plans fell apart completely. "It's working," Commander Walsh shouted from his tactical station. "Their whole fleet is falling into chaos." Captain Jake Morrison took advantage of the confusion to launch an all-out attack on the enemy's center formation. "All weapons, target that battlecruiser. Pour everything we have into it." The Phoenix's plasma cannons, supported by fire from 3 other destroyers, hammered the confused Vorthok ship until it exploded in a spectacular fireball. Inside the mothership, Kate Hughes and her Marines were fighting their way toward the bridge. The alien corridors were wide and tall, designed for creatures much bigger than humans. But that worked in the Marines' favor. The Vorthok warriors they encountered were strong and fierce, but they moved slowly and couldn't aim properly in the narrow spaces. Human Marines used their smaller size to dart around corners and attack from unexpected angles. "These bugs are all muscle and no brains," Major Alex Stone reported as his squad eliminated another group of alien guards. "They fight like they've never faced real opposition before." Kate's team reached a main elevator shaft that led toward the ship's command center. The shaft was huge, big enough to fly a shuttle through, but it was heavily guarded. "Alex, take your squad up the left maintenance tunnel," Kate ordered. "I'll go up the right side. We'll catch them in crossfire." The 2 Marine squads climbed through the alien ship's infrastructure like deadly spiders. When they reached the upper levels, they found themselves in the heart of the Vorthok command center. The alien bridge was massive, filled with insect-like creatures working at strange control panels. In the center stood Hive Prime Zethkar, screaming orders at his subordinates in their harsh language. "Target the big one in the center," Kate whispered into her radio. "That's got to be their leader." But before the Marines could attack, Zeth noticed them. The alien commander was bigger than the others, with thick armor plates covering his body and massive claws instead of hands. "Humans," Zethkar roared in surprisingly good English. "You dare to board my ship? I will tear you apart with my own claws." Kate stepped out of cover, her rifle aimed at the alien leader's head. "Surrender now, and we might let some of your people live." Zethkar laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Foolish creatures. You are insects compared to the mighty Vorthok." The alien commander charged toward Kate with surprising speed for something so large. But Kate had been fighting dangerous enemies her whole career. She rolled to one side as Zethkar's claws swept through the air where she had been standing. "Now," Kate shouted, 20 human marines opened fire at once. Their explosive rounds hammered into Zethkar's armor, cracking it like an eggshell. The alien leader staggered but didn't fall. Meanwhile, Captain Lisa North was preparing to use her second Nova torpedo against the largest group of enemy ships. The experimental weapon had worked perfectly the first time, but using it again was still risky. Target that formation of heavy cruisers, Lisa North ordered. If we can break their main battle line, we might end this fight. The second Nova torpedo launched from the Retribution and flew toward 30 Vorthok ships that were trying to regroup. When it exploded, it created another miniature star that consumed everything within 10 kilometers. The psychological effect on the Vorthok was devastating. They had never seen weapons that could destroy so many ships at once. Combined with the sonic disruption that was scrambling their minds, many alien ships began trying to flee, but Admiral Carter wasn't finished with them yet. All ships, pursue the retreating vessels. Don't let any of them escape to warn their Empire about our capabilities. Human destroyers chased down fleeing Vorthok ships like hunting dogs. The aliens' heavy vessels couldn't outrun the fast human warships, and one by one they were destroyed. On the planet's surface, Lumina and the surviving Zalani watched in amazement as the tide of battle turned. The massive alien fleet that had seemed unstoppable was being torn apart by a much smaller human force. How are they doing this? One of the Zalani survivors asked. They fight with their hearts as well as their weapons, Lumina replied. The humans came here knowing they might die, but they came anyway, because we are their friends. Back on the mothership, Kate Hughes was locked in single combat with Hive Prime's Zethkar. The alien was wounded, but still dangerous, his claws slashing at her while she dodged and fired. Your empire is finished, Kate told the alien leader as she reloaded her weapon. Your fleet is being destroyed, and your people are scattered. Zethkar's red eyes blazed with hatred. Impossible. The Vorthok have conquered 17 worlds. We are the strongest force in the galaxy. Not anymore, Kate said, and fired her last shot. The explosive round punched through Zethkar's damaged armor and struck him in the center of his chest. The mighty Hive Prime of the Vorthok Empire fell to his knees, then collapsed onto the deck. With their leader dead and their mental connection disrupted, the remaining Vorthok fleet began to fall apart completely. Ships that had fought fiercely just minutes before now drifted helplessly through space. Admiral Carter saw her chance and took it. Signal the enemy fleet. Offer them one chance to surrender. The battle was almost over, but the hardest decision was still to come. The death of Hive Prime Zethkar sent shockwaves through the entire Vorthok fleet. Without their leader's mental control, the alien ships began moving randomly through space like lost children. Admiral Lisa Carter watched her tactical display as enemy vessels stopped firing and started drifting aimlessly. Some Vorthok ships were trying to flee, but most seemed confused and helpless. Admiral, we're receiving multiple surrender signals from enemy vessels, Amy Rodriguez reported from her communications station. They're using basic mathematical codes to show they want to give up. Lisa faced the hardest decision of her career. The Vorthok had been murdering innocent Zalani just hours before. They had destroyed entire cities and killed millions of peaceful people. Did creatures like that deserve mercy? Lieutenant Colonel Kate Hughes contacted the Valkyrie from the captured mothership. Admiral, you need to see what we found in their database. These aliens have destroyed 17 different worlds. Billions of innocent people are dead because of them. Commander Ben Walsh looked up from his tactical station. Ma'am, we could finish them right now. Their defenses are down, and their formation is broken. We could destroy every remaining ship in the next hour. But Captain Jake Morrison had a different opinion. Admiral, some of these aliens might not have chosen to be killers. With their hive mind broken, they might be able to think for themselves. For the first time, Lisa walked to the main view screen and looked out at the scattered enemy fleet. She thought about all the people who had died today, both alien and human. She thought about the Zalani cities that would never shine again. Then, she thought about what made humans different from monsters. "Open a channel to all Vorthok ships," Lisa ordered. "This is Admiral Carter to the surviving Vorthok forces. Your leader is dead. Your fleet is defeated. I am offering you one chance to surrender unconditionally." The response came from several ships at once, their voices confused and frightened. Without Zethkar's control, individual Vorthok were speaking for themselves for the first time in their lives. "Human leader, we do not know what to do," one alien voice said. "The Hive Prime always told us what to think. Now he is gone, and we are alone in our minds." Another Vorthok ship transmitted a different message. "We remember the worlds we destroyed. We remember the screaming of the innocents we killed, but we could not stop ourselves. The Hive Prime controlled our thoughts." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. If the Vorthok were telling the truth, then they had been slaves to their leader's will, forced to commit horrible crimes against their own desires. Dr. Susan Blake had been monitoring the alien communications. "Admiral, I'm detecting major changes in their brain chemistry. Without the hive mind controlling them, these creatures are experiencing emotions like guilt and fear for the first time. Some of them are genuinely sorry for what they did," Dr. Nicole Parker added. "But others are angry and want revenge for their leader's death." Lisa made her choice. All Vorthok vessels will shut down their weapons and prepare to be boarded. Those who cooperate will be treated as prisoners of war. Those who resist will be destroyed. Most of the alien ships complied immediately, but a few groups tried to escape or fight back. Captain Morrison's destroyers hunted down the fleeing vessels, while Captain Lisa North used her remaining weapons to destroy the ones that refused to surrender. Within 2 hours, the battle was completely over. Of the original 212 Vorthok ships, only 89 remained. The rest had been destroyed in the most decisive victory in human military history. But the real work was just beginning. Major Alex Stone led Marine teams aboard the surrendered alien vessels. What they found was disturbing and sad at the same time. Many Vorthok warriors were sitting in corners, holding their heads and crying. Without the hive mind, they were overwhelmed by emotions they had never experienced before. "It's like they're children who just woke up from a terrible nightmare," Alex reported to Admiral Carter. "Some of them are begging us to kill them because they can't live with the memories of what they did." On the planet's surface, human rescue teams were working with Zalani survivors to find people trapped in the ruins. Lumina led them to hidden caves where thousands of her people had survived the bombardment. Chief Engineer Ryan Torres had modified the transport systems to safely beam Zalani survivors onto human ships. Dr. Blake's discovery about their energy fields had made it possible to rescue people who would have died from the stress of normal transportation. "We've found over 50,000 survivors," Ryan reported. "That's more than we hoped, but less than we feared. The Vorthok killed at least 10 million Zalani in their attack." Admiral Carter stood in the ruins of Kristra's capital city, wearing a protective suit to shield her from radiation. The beautiful crystal spires that had once reached toward the sky were now melted slag. The singing gardens where Zalani children had played were burned wastelands. Lumina walked beside her, her crystal body dim with grief. "My people will rebuild," the young Zalani leader said. "But we will never forget what the Vorthok did to us, and we will never forget that humans came to save us when no one else could." "The Vorthok survivors claim they were forced to do this," Lisa said carefully. "What do you think we should do with them?" Lumina was quiet for a long time. Finally, she spoke. "My father believed that all thinking beings could choose between good and evil. If these Vorthok can truly choose now, then perhaps some of them can learn to be better than they were." 3 weeks later, the human fleet was finally ready to leave Kristara. They had helped the Zalani begin rebuilding their world, and had transported the most seriously injured survivors to human hospitals for treatment. The Vorthok prisoners had been divided, into different groups. The ones who showed genuine remorse were being sent to work camps, where they would help rebuild the worlds they had destroyed. The ones who remained violent and dangerous were confined on prison ships. Most importantly, the Vorthok had provided information about other species they had attacked. Captain Morrison was leading a task force to rescue survivors from 3 other worlds, while Captain North was hunting down Vorthok ships that hadn't been at CRYST. Hera. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the Valkyrie as her fleet prepared to jump back to human space. The cost of victory had been terrible. 12 ships lost, over 4,000 human casualties, and a beautiful world left in ruins. But they had saved the Zilani people from extinction. They had stopped the Vorthok Empire from spreading its evil across the galaxy. And they had shown the universe that humanity would fight to protect the innocent, no matter the cost. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Earth," Amy Rodriguez announced. "It's from Fleet Command." The message was brief but clear. News of the battle had already reached human space, and the victory was being celebrated on every human world. More importantly, 3 other alien species had contacted Earth, asking for protection from their own enemies. "It seems we've started something," Commander Walsh observed. "Other species are looking to humanity as protectors now." Lisa nodded. It was a heavy responsibility, but one that humans would accept. They had proven at Kristara that a smaller force fighting for the right reasons could defeat a larger force fighting for evil ones. As the human fleet jumped away from the Kristara system, leaving behind construction ships and aid workers to help with rebuilding, Admiral Carter made a promise to herself and to the memory of those who had died. Humanity would never again allow innocent people to be slaughtered while they had the power to stop it. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but it was a little bit safer now because humans were willing to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. 6 months later, the memorial wall on Earth displayed the names of every human who had died at Kristara. Below their names was a simple inscription in both human and Zilani languages. They answered the call, and whenever future distress signals reached human space, Admiral Carter knew that humanity would answer again, no matter what the cost, because that's what friends do for each other. And humanity had made friends with the stars themselves. The Zilani rebuilt their world stronger than before, incorporating human defensive technology into their crystal cities. The grateful aliens shared their advanced crystal technology with humanity, leading to faster ships and better weapons, and somewhere in deep space, other aggressive species heard the story of what happened when the Vorthok attacked the Zilani. They learned that humanity had destroyed a fleet 5 times larger than their own to protect their friends. The message was clear: attack humanity's allies, and face the consequences. The galaxy had become a more peaceful place, because sometimes peace could only be achieved through the terrible mathematics of war.